Welcome back, everyone. Today is New Year's Eve, 2021. Be happy to get this one over again. I was going to do the bonfire tonight for a New Year's celebration, plus to get rid of the pile. And I thought it would make a good going out of the year, sending off of the year, getting rid of it. But weather is not going to permit. We've got a burn ban, and it's just not going to be possible to do that today. So I thought I would just make this quick video. Thank everyone for their support of the channel this year. Got a lot more subscribers. I realize that my channel pretty much is if you didn't watch me from the beginning, or if you didn't watch from the beginning, you probably wouldn't really understand what I'm doing. But I thank the people that I've had. Well, I thank everyone, but I mean especially the people that have been here since the beginning. So I wanted to at least get a Happy New Year up, wish everybody a safe and Happy New Year, and hope this year is better for everyone. This upcoming year will be better for everyone. And what I'm going to do today, as I talked about hating the thumb, I do hate the thumb, and as I've shown, you do have to be stretched out almost all the way in order to pick anything up, but it's not really practical because everything is not that far away from you, and if something falls, it's very aggravating. And the tracks on that 250, the drive motors and everything is a little tired. And when Chris was here, he told me probably what one of the problems is. The valve that goes through the turntable, the two valves that work each drive motor that go through where it spins, they leak into each other, and he had that changed on one of his, and it made a big difference. So I'll probably have to do that. But as you saw, the retaining bolt on the thumb pin broke. That was one of the reasons why I said I hated it, because of what happened. And I tried to get it out, pounded it, heated it, penetrating oil, everything. It isn't coming. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it, how tight it is. So I decided I better get a press. I don't have a shop press. So I went to Harbor Freight yesterday, the one many of you know. David used to also work part-time at Harbor Freight. He actually worked at Harbor Freight before he worked for the DOT. And I went to see his manager and his friend. It's his friend. He was good friends with his manager, and I went to see him last night because I hadn't seen him for about a year. So we reminisced and talked, and they still have pictures of David up in the break room on the refrigerator, and his locker. They are not using it. They have it zip tied shut. Nobody gets to use his locker. So I thought that was really nice. I appreciated that very much. That yesterday was 127 weeks since his passing, so it's almost 2.5 years. That they still remember and recognize him. So I thought that was really nice. And it was a little tough for me to go in there. It always is tough for me to go in there. He really loved to work in there, and it is hard for me, but I wanted to go in there and get this press. And so I'm going to assemble this today, and I wanted to show it. I've unboxed it. And I know there's a lot of videos on this, but I just wanted to point out a few things that I see. A lot of people complained about the handle being a two-piece handle that it came with the jack. And this is it's a one-piece. This is kind of the same handle that they put on the engine hoist, the cherry pickers. I've got two of those, and it's the same handle. So it's a nice handle with the grip on there. And as far as tools go, 15/16 wrench, 17 millimeter wrench and socket, and a 6 millimeter hex, an Allen. So that's basically all that you need for tools. And I was going to put wheels on it. I see a lot of people on YouTube have added wheels. These are the base. We opened the box yesterday at the store to try to look, because I was thinking of getting wheels for it, casters. But the more I think about it, and you'll see after I do it, the the main pressure, these are the sides, and where it's pressing down, you'd be pressing, all that weight would be pressing down on these angles. So if you had a wheel at this end and a wheel at that end, you've got that span. So to me, that seems like a weak point. So what I think I'm going to do is I have just small, for like snowmobile moving kind of things. They're little. They've got 4 casters on them, and I think when I want to move it around, I will just put it on. I will just put it on those and just move it to where I want, and then put it back down on the ground. Because it's very beefy. I mean, this is like a 3/4 inch plate right here that you'll be pushing. That it'll be pushing against. And this I-beam and everything, and then to put all that pressure down on that. As you see, the stabilizing legs, they're not made to hold weight. So I could be wrong, but in looking at it, if you look at the design right here, all the pressure, everything gets pushed down on this. So where's the weight transferred down to? The legs, obviously, and right here. So if you had a wheel here and a wheel here, I'm pretty sure that's going to bend. That is no way that's going to hold, 40,000 pounds of pressure. So I think I'm going to forego the casters. But I'm going to put this together, and I have to get the pin out of the thumb, which will be fun. I'll have to put it back up just so it'll be easier to get the pin in and out. And then we'll push it out. Hopefully it'll push it out. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so what I've done, probably a little bit different than what they talked about, or I'm not following the directions. Go figure. They give a very good exploded diagram. Much better than if you watched my Harbor Freight video. The directions in that look like somebody made it in a 1980s copy machine that hadn't had the toner changed since 1980. This one is actually glossy, so you can touch it. You don't get fingerprints all over it. You don't need a magnifying glass in order to read what the description is of the hardware. Very nice. You can read, you can see the exploded diagram and know where everything goes. But I'm not following the exact directions the way they show it. They show to put the bottom on first and then to drop the top down and all that other stuff onto it. I'm not going to do it that way. What I've chosen to do is to lay it on a table like this, and just make sure one of the things you do, because initially when I first did it, I laid it down and I had the C channel with the voided part of the C facing inwards. And if you do that, I realized afterwards, again, I didn't look at the directions specifically, looked at them quickly, that the holes don't line up properly. So the smooth part of the C channel faces inwards. So I've taken the head section here, put it in place. There's 2 threaded, those are the 6mm hex bolts that this plate is tapped for, so there's no nut or washer on that. I decided I would put the bottle jack in ahead of time with that, and the easiest way to do that is to take a couple of pieces of 2x4 or a 4x4 is what I used. I've always keep blocks of 4x4 outside the shop because I use them all the time, and just sit this on a 4x4 on either side, because as you see, the part that's actually the press sticks down, and then I put those on ahead of time. So this way you're not in this confined space trying to install those, and it's much easier. I did bring out a T-handle, as I showed before. I brought out the T-handle Best thing to use is a socket. Use a 6mm hex socket with a couple, you know, either a long extension or two of them if you don't have a longer one. It'll be much faster to do it in than using the T-handle, because you don't get very much turn. You get about a quarter turn. But there's only two of them, so it's not the end of the world if you don't have one. So I pre-did that. I put the bottom on, and what I did in preparation of putting on the feet, I took some blue tape, painter's tape, and loosely, this is very loosely and messy, I've done that on purpose to stick out. So this way, when you drop them in the hole, that's still one of the complaints I've seen online, that this is not drilled out for you know, a retaining clip, where those can come out if you bang into it or whatever. So I'll probably drill those out and put in a retainer on either side, but for now I don't need to do that. So I just put that on. This way, when I go to stand it up and it slides off the table, when this part slides off the table when I go to stand it up, that the pin doesn't fall out. I guess if you really wanted to, you could put it on both sides, so this way it won't fall out the other way, but I really don't think it's going to fall out once the weight of this is on it, so I'm not going to bother with that. So, all right, well, that's about the prep of what I'm doing. I'm going to use, this is another Harbor Freight tool, an earthquake battery-powered ratchet, one of David's favorite tools that we used to use. So I only use it on special occasions. But since this is, I got this at his Harbor Freight location, I want to put it together with that. So, like I said, that was, you know, a godsend, so that it's much faster than using a hand ratchet. And it's not so hard. If you use an impact on it, it's a little abrupt. So that one at least lets, you know, stops normally, whereas an impact is a little tough. So, all right, I'm going to put this in the tripod and start assembling it. All right, so I've laid everything out. I've got all the bolts together. There's 4 large bolts that go at the bottom that hold the cross piece, and there's all the rest of them are for the angles. So I've taken them apart, so those are there. And for the top, I've got everything apart. So there's no washer on that side. And I'm just going to loosely do these for now. I can square it up after. This is a washer and a lock nut on these, just so you know. The bottom ones have lock nuts, so there's no lock washer. I haven't seen yet what the tolerances are on this. I want to try to, I'm hoping that I can get this thing square as long as everything is cut properly and the holes are drilled in the right places. So far, well, this side, well, we'll find out. The jury's still out on that. I can't tell whether that's going to be like that or not. All right. Looks like we might be missing a washer. I think these are 5/8 bolts, so I do have 5/8 washers if that is the case. Or did I put 2 on one? Nope. All right, we are, so they shorted me a washer. Yep. Let me make sure it's not stuck to one of these. If I had it near it. Sometimes the magnetic trays will catch it. No, they shorted me a washer, so let me go get one. All right, my washers are a lot bigger diameter than their washers, but it does fit, which is good. So, all right, Harbor Freight, you saved 5 cents on a washer. Okay. And this bolt doesn't want to thread. There we go. All right, I'm not going to tighten these up. I'm not going to tighten these up until I get the bottom on. And, all right, let's move it down this end. Come on. And this goes, if you can see it, this is just an angle on a 45. So the angle points upwards and goes through that way. And the angle goes inside. And this piece goes in with it. That's why they're longer. So this part will be a little tricky. Well, not really. You just need to put a little more pressure with your thumb on that one, doing it this way. And again, there's no lock washers. These are lock nuts. So I'm going to do one and one on one side, one on the other. The quality, though, seems very good. I'm very happy with it. And the good thing is the bolts are the same. The bolts are the same. They're just, the lengths are different, so you don't need different wrenches and sockets. And again, I'm not going to tighten these up until I put the braces on. And I'm just going to check to see which way it goes. All right. So it's on the inside to the outside. So this angle, again, it's the shorter bolts. They go from the inside of the C to the inside. Well, it's the inside. So it's off a little bit. I mean, it's obviously, it's off the width of the, no matter how you slice it, it's going to be off the width of this angle. There, that'll hold it. Sorry you can't see this one. You'll be able to see that one when I do that. I should have done that one first. It might help to put the leg. I was wondering why it was tighter. That's better. Okay, the bottom one you can't see, but well, maybe you can see it. But again, all this hardware is going together nicely. A lot of times Chinese hardware is not the greatest, but this seems to be top quality. One more. Okay, so now for this, I'm surprised that the C doesn't sit flat down on it. They could have drilled, ground off that corner a little bit. So all that pressure is going to push down on this, but there's probably 3/16 to a 1/4 inch of space, which I don't know what 40,000 pounds pushing down on that will do, but so I'm going to line up. I'm going to make it even as I tighten this up. That should, as long as everything is cut properly, that should make this thing stand up plumb. Worst case, you could always loosen. You can always loosen them up. And do this one first. Okay. Come on. Okay. So now we'll go to the top. What I'm doing is I'm looking at this spacing between the frame. And this one will go flush. So that's what I'm going to put it at. And I didn't bring out sockets for this. I figured for only 4 of them, didn't matter. Okay, and I just had to take this apart. I shut the camera off, but this, it doesn't say which is the front and which is the back on this plate or this. But if you, so I can't tell you which way to do it. I'm just going to tell you to test fit it. The plunger did not line up with this cup. It was off by a good 1/4 of an inch. So what I did was I took this off and I turned this 180 degrees and put it back together. So I'm not sure what was up with that, but so I put that one on first. These are adjustable, so you only need a little bit of pressure. Then you can tighten these up to increase the pressure on it so it doesn't drop down. All this does, this is just to return it, so when you push it down, it goes back up. So it doesn't, it's not under super tension, but you want to make sure it's tight enough, and that can be adjusted afterwards. So all right, well, that's about it. And I did go to get the 6mm socket, hex socket, so that it reaches. I just got a long extension, and I wasn't taking it back off again by hand. So it is pretty heavy. Now, let's pull this back a little bit and we'll watch it stand up. Get this stuff out of the way. Probably better to pull it off this way. There it is. Didn't take long. And again, like for my pin, this is adjustable here. So you just lift this up like that and pull the pins. So if you've got something big, but for that, and then it's got these. Now I see one of the complaints is that these things want to slide off. So I've seen people, they've drilled underneath and put in pins so that they'll only slide side to side. So that's got a big hole. You can turn it over like that. Got a small hole. You can turn it this way, and it's got a V. So I think that's quite versatile there. And here is the, again, this is the same handle that comes on their cherry pickers. And I've seen people also have made, they've made handles for this, so you don't need to, you know, to loosen it with this. I don't think I'm going to use it that much that it's going to matter. You know, it's very slow. You don't get much. That's how it's a 20-ton jack. It you know, it doesn't require a lot of pressure. But I think that'll be fine for me. I'm not gonna You can also buy an air-powered 20-ton jack to go with it, so you can hook it to the air compressor. Again, maybe if I end up using it more than I think I'll use it. I mean, I haven't needed one for 57 years. I've always found a way to do something without it, but in this case, it did. So, all right, so that's basically it. I'm going to leave this as a standalone video. Number one, it'll be for New Year's. Number two, my Harbor Freight video, greenhouse video, has gotten probably the most views of any, and I still every month I get a lot of views on that. So I know a lot of people are interested in Harbor Freight tools and things like that. So I'm going to leave this one as a standalone. So if you're not interested in this particular item, you're probably not still watching, so you won't hear me say, everybody, please have a safe and Happy New Year, and I will catch you next year on the next one. And like I said, who knows? I'm hoping the next video will be the bonfire, but if weather conditions don't improve, I may do something else. So again, thanks for watching. And here's the typical South Carolina sky. If you look at our old license plates, they have that on it. So even this camera's not going to do it justice, but Happy New Year. Here you go, Jose. I got it together. Put it in front of David's truck just so you could see it. Again, it means a lot to me that you keep David's picture and things on the fridge, and that you're not using his locker, and that's there. And it was very good to see you yesterday, and we got to make sure that it doesn't take another year. You really need to come over here so you could see everything, because it looks a lot different, and I enjoyed hanging out with you, even though it was for a short time. So Happy New Year, and I'll have a video up on this tomorrow, so my assembly method, if anybody wants to see it, it'll be up there. So again, Happy New Year, Jose. Thank you.